Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today. We will be looking at the championship fixtures for this weekend. We start off on Friday night where West Brom will entertain Birmingham City. I believe this one finished a draw last time. Yeah, 1-1 it finished. That was on the TV as well. I remember watching that game. And West Brom, who have sacked their manager obviously recently, Darren Moore, will be looking at trying to cement a place in the top, sort of the top three maybe, if they can, but try and get into the playoffs and stay in the playoffs. And be a playoff team come the end of the season. And that's where they are at the minute, and that's what I fully expect West Brom to do. And they'll be taking on Birmingham City, who are now in 18th place after recently having a point deduction of 9 points. They were in 13th place, but now find themselves in 18th and are only 5 points away from the relegation zone, so could potentially be in trouble come the end of the season. I think they'll be okay. They do have a tough running coming up. West Brom have, since sacking Darren Moore, have won their last 2 games. They beat Swansea 3-0 and went to Brentford and won 1-0. But before that, 1 draw against Ipswich and then 2 defeats to Leeds and to Sheffield United, 2 sides that are above them. Birmingham City have lost their last 4 games in a row, losing to Preston, losing to Millwall, losing to Aston Villa in the derby, and losing to Hull, and then 2-1 against Birmingham in that other game in the last 5. So it's going to be difficult for Birmingham going to a very good West Brom side who are starting to pick up a bit of form since Darren Moore departed. I think this one will be tight. I don't think there will be too much in it, but I think West Brom will get the win. I'm going to go for West Brom to win 2-1. And then we move on to Saturday's fixtures. Obviously, we've had the international break now, and it is just football after football after football after football until the end of the season, which is very exciting. Aston Villa will take on Blackburn, and Aston Villa have really made a late charge towards those playoff positions with 8 games to go. They have started to put in a good run together and are looking very good. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, beating Middlesbrough, Notts Forest, beating Birmingham, beating Derby as well, and drawing with Stoke. So they'll be absolutely delighted. Derby County are just 1 point behind them with a game in hand, and Bristol City are 2 points behind them with 2 games in hand, so that place is still up for grabs. They'll be looking at cementing themselves in the playoff picture come the end of the season. They've done really well in recent times with those wins, and they'll be looking at continuing those wins at home to Blackburn. Blackburn have only won once in their last 5 league games, beating Wigan at 3-0. Defeats against Sheffield Wednesday, defeats against Blackburn and Rotherham, and a draw against Birmingham in their last 5. I expect Aston Villa to comfortably beat Blackburn. Blackburn, I think they'll be decently happy with how they've done. I think their aim was just to stay up and be comfortable in staying up, you know, with 11 points in front of Rotherham. That's exactly what they're going to be. They're going to be delighted and try and kick on for next season. I'm going to go 2-0 to Villa, and that would be a big 3 points, especially with Middlesbrough, who are above them. They take on Norwich City, so that could mean that they go into 5th place, and Middlesbrough could be the team in danger. Next game, we have Derby County taking on battling Rotherham. In the last 5, Derby County have sort of started to fall apart, and not fall apart, that'd be a bit too harsh, but just starting to fall away from those playoffs. Just 1 win in their last 5 games, defeating Wigan 2-1. 2 draws in a row with Sheffield Wednesday and Stoke, and then 2 defeats to Villa and to Nottingham Forest. They're still just 2 points away from the playoffs, and they will be looking at getting back into those playoffs come the end of the season. Rotherham, they're totally opposite of the spectrum, really. Rotherham are in the relegation zone. They are 1 point behind Reading and Millwall, and they'll be looking at getting every single point possible. They're a really good battle inside, and I'd really like it if Rotherham stayed up, because they've only just come back up. They got relegated obviously the season before. So I really hope that they stay up and somebody else goes down, because it's not nice seeing a yo-yo team. It's nice to see them stay up and see different sides enter different leagues. And yeah, so they've won 2 of their last 5 games, 2 defeats and 1 draw. However, they will be very buoyed by their recent game. Despite losing to Norwich, they really did give them a fight against a team that will probably now finish as champions. So they are doing very well. Their wins came against QPR and against Blackburn. They'll be hoping for a point in this one at least. I'm going to go for a Derby win, though. I think Derby will have too much. I'm going to go 3-1 to Derby County, and that could see them go back into the playoffs if results went their way. Ipswich, who are destined to play their football in League One next season, take on Hull City. Hull have won 2 of their last 5 games, 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats, and they're just starting to, they had a great run, that run's sort of over now. Ipswich, they have only lost 1 of their last 5 games, but have drawn 4 and won none. They've only won 3 games all season. If they could just start turning results, if they had turned some of those draws into wins, let's say 3, they'd have another 6 points. They'd be on 30 points. They'd still be behind, but they still have a chance. But I think it's curtains for Ipswich. Unfortunately, they'll be playing in League One next season, which is not what I said in my championship predictions, but never mind. They could go and give Hull a game. I think they will give Hull a game, but I think Hull will have too much. I'm going to go 2-1 to Hull. I just think they have a lot of just have a better players, and I think that will be the difference. Leeds will be looking at bouncing back from that 1-0 defeat to Sheffield United with a game against Millwall. Millwall recently went out of the FA Cup and will be looking at bouncing back in the league. Millwall have won just 1 of their last 5 league games, beating Birmingham 2-0. Defeats against Bolton, defeats against Norwich, Hull and Preston. It's going to be difficult for Millwall. Neil Harris' side going to Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds. 3 wins and 2 defeats in their last 5 games. Defeats against QPR and Sheffield United. Reading 3-0, Bristol City 1-0 and a 4-0 win over West Brom as well. So they're going quite well, and they should have enough to beat Millwall. I think it'll be tight, but I just think Leeds, they need to win these sort of games if they want to get automatically promoted this season. I'm going to go 2-1 to Leeds. Nottingham Forest take on Swansea City in the next one. Nottingham Forest are 11th now. The playoff for those 6th and 5th and 6th spots is so tight. There's only 3 points between 6th place and 11th. So they're still in the promotion playoff picture, but they are mid-table, which isn't too good. Their last 5 games, 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats. Swansea City recently went out of the FA Cup to Manchester City after going 2 goals up, losing in 3-2. They've won just 1 of their last 5 league games, beating Bolton. I think Forest will win this one. They are doing okay under Martin O'Neill. They're doing okay. I think that they'll be just outside the playoffs come the end of the season. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Nottingham Forest. That one could go any way. QPR take on Bolton. This is 2 sides that are in the lower half of the table. 17th place, you will find QPR won only 1 of their last 5 games. That one came against Leeds. 2 draws and 2 defeats. Bolton, they're struggling, aren't they? 8 points from safety, only 1 win in their last 5. It's going to be a struggle for Bolton to stay up as well. There's no doubt about it. But they need to win this game if they want to stay up. That is something for sure. They need to start picking up some wins if they want to stay in this division, and fast. I don't think they'll stay up. I think they're gone. And I think QPR will beat Bolton. I'm going to go 2-0 to Bolton. 2-0 to QPR rather. I just think they have too much for Bolton, and I think Bolton will be playing in League One as well come the end of the season. Reading take on the form side Preston. Preston are absolutely flying at the moment. 4 wins out of 5, 1 draw, no defeats in that time. 1-0 win over Birmingham, a 2-1 win over Middlesbrough, 1-0 win over Blackburn, and a 3-1 win over Millwall, and a draw against Bristol City. They take on a Reading side who are in 21st, 1 point above Rotherham. And yeah, that is not good. Jose Gomez, he's done okay. I think they were in the relegation zone when he took over. So he's done okay. Anyway, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat in the last 5 games. He's made them quite hard to beat. Not conceding a ruck of goals. I think that Preston will have far too much for Reading. Reading's obviously aim is to stay up, and it won't matter if they win this game or not. This is a tough game. I think they'll give them a game, and I think that there'll be some moments that Reading will create and do well. But I just don't think they'll have enough to beat Preston. I think Preston will win, maybe with 2 or 3-1. I think I'm going to go with 3-1 to Preston. That could put Preston into the playoffs as well. They're just 7th. Just outside the playoffs on goal difference. Next, we have Sheffield United entertaining Bristol City. This is going to be a very interesting game. Bristol City are in 9th place, 2 draws and 3 defeats in their last 5 games. Their run is starting to fall apart a little bit now. Draws against Ipswich and Preston. And I think it's just starting to come to an end. They've had an amazing season. I thought they'd struggle. I really did. But they've done really well. I just think the wheels are starting to come off a little bit at Bristol City. I don't think they'll be in the playoffs coming into the season. I still think they've had a fantastic season though. They take on Sheffield United, who are in fine form. They've had 4 wins against West Brom, Rotherham, Brentford and Leeds, and a draw against Sheffield Wednesday. So not too bad at all. They are a point above Leeds, and they need to pick up more points, or the same points as Leeds, and then they'll probably be promoted. And and that is what they want. They want to get promoted. They want to do it automatically, and they need to beat Bristol City. Bristol City are in a very good position, but their form-wise, it's not too good for them. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Sheffield United, just getting the win against Bristol City, and that would maintain their gap between them and Leeds after going to Leeds last week. Stoke take on Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday on another side in the Championship, going very, very well. They have won 3 of their last 5 games, drawing the other 2. I think they're unbeaten under Steve Bruce. A 4-2 win over Blackburn, a 2-0 win over Bolton, and a 2-0 win over Brentford, with draws against Sheffield United and Derby County, 2 sides that are above them currently. Stoke, Nathan Jones has come in, and they're starting to not lose so many games. Last 5, only won 1, but drawn the other 4. A win against Nottingham Forest, then draws against Villa, QPR, Derby, and Reading, and they've only conceded 1 goal in that time, so they're becoming a little bit more compact at the back, which is something that Gary Rowett really struggled with in his opening few months at the Bet365 Stadium. I think this one will be a draw. I'm going to go 0-0. I think Sheffield United will maintain their unbeaten run under Steve Bruce. I think Sheffield Wednesday will be just outside the playoffs come the end of the season, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of money is available for Bruce to bring in his own players to try and make a promotion push next season, which is something I expect him to do. Stoke City are in 15th place, and I think they are building for next season under Nathan Jones as well. But they're quite compact. Sheffield Wednesday rather aren't losing many games. I think it'll be a draw. Next we have Wigan versus Brentford. So Wigan, they are having a struggling start to 2019. Only 1 win in their last 5 games, beating Bolton 5-2. They really needed that because their form was atrocious. 3-0 defeat to Blackburn, 3-2 defeat to Reading, 2-1 defeat to Derby, and a 0-0 draw with Middlesbrough. So that just puts them 3 points clear of Rotherham. It's going to be a tough end, and they need to start picking up some results if they want to be a Championship side next season. And it would be especially awful for Wigan to go up, have such an amazing season, and then just throw it all away in the next season and get relegated. They will be taking on Brentford, who have won 2 and lost 3 of their last 5 games, beating beating QPR and beating Middlesbrough in that time, and then defeats to Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, and West Brom. I think this one will be tough. For Wigan. Those defeats come against very good sides, and they've won their other games in the last 5 games. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go 2-2, but I could see Brentford winning that. But I'm going to go for a draw, and that would take Brentford to the 50-point mark, which is usually about safe. So I think that Brentford will be fine. After a struggling start, Thomas Frank has sort of turned the ship a little bit, which is really good to see. You know, he struggled coming in. There was calls for him to leave, but he's done all right. I'm not sure if they'll continue him the next season though. Middlesbrough and Norwich is our last game, and the form of Norwich is absolutely phenomenal. They have won 6 of their last 6 games, beating Bolton, beating Bristol City, beating Millwall, beating Swansea, beating Hull, and beating Rotherham. Their last defeat goes back to the 13th of February, and they are on top. They are 5 points clear of Leeds in 3rd, and they will be looking at getting promoted this season. They've only lost 6 games all season. They've won the most, and they are looking a phenomenal side, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them in the Premier League if they make it. They'll be taking on a tough Middlesbrough side, but they were doing very well. They were up there, and they've sort of fallen a little bit. 3 defeats in a row, losing to Villa, losing to Preston, and losing to Brentford. If they're not careful, they will be knocked out of this playoffs, because Preston are coming, as are Sheffield Wednesday. They're all in amongst it. They're in fine form, and if they're not careful, Middlesbrough, they'll be knocked out of the playoffs very, very quickly. I think this one will be a Norwich win. I think Norwich will have too much for Middlesbrough, who are struggling of late. I'm going to go 2-1 to Norwich, and Norwich will be the first team to have 80 points this season in the Championship, and that could be huge. They need to continue winning games, and as long as they continue winning games, they will be promoted next season. I think Daniel Farke, despite what I said in my predictions, has done an absolutely amazing job there, and I think Norwich will definitely be promoted. It's just a case of who the other team is who gets automatically promoted. Will it be Sheffield United or will it be Leeds? Let me know down in the comments. If you haven't already, feel free to have a go yourself in the comments. Have a go at predicting yourself. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. But thank you for watching. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.